Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope all is well. In this video, we finally pulled the trigger on upgrading from the standard shop vac that we've been using for the past, 16 years of detailing. So I'm crazy anxious to have this vacuum, the VacuMaid. Hopefully it'll work better, save us some time, and all in all, just look better hanging out in the shop with us ugly guys. We plan on eventually moving to a new shop in the near future, so I'm mounting the vacuum to this makeshift wooden cart that we used to use for lighting. So it only makes sense. If I were going to mount this at home, I would more than likely attach it to a wall. I've never really been that guy that reads instructions first. It's kind of one of them things where I put everything together, and if it doesn't work, I'll go back and read them. That's just kind of one of my faults. But got the bag in, put the lid on. As you can see there, I hung a hook on the back. I didn't want to use the plastic one they sent along, the plastic hanger for the hose. I can just imagine that it would break here in a couple months. We're kind of hard on our stuff. And then the canister that I just put at the bottom of the cart, that's actually sold separately, but it's the same company. It's used for like wet type of stuff, so that way you don't get your bags all wet. You hook up separate hoses to this. It connects to the vacuum, and then you can use that canister as your wet vacuum. But yeah, as you'll find out later in the video, you'll see what I messed up on and what I should have just read the instructions, in all honesty. But yeah, with one of these projects, it's kind of, with not mounting it to the wall and having this cart, I'll kind of figure out in the next couple months what works and what doesn't work, and then move a hanger to here, move a hanger to there. Just kind of got to see what works best after we actually use it here in the shop for a little bit. So I'll just lay it there. Plug in the hose there. It doesn't go in that hole. It actually goes in the hole I'm looking at right now. So that was my first screw up there, that I have it on the air release. I guess that's where the air blows out of the vacuum. One thing I do like about this kit that I got from VacuMaid is the 50-foot hose. I don't think I've ever had a 50-foot hose that long. I think the longest we might have had was like 25, 30 feet or so. But one thing I'm finding out here, this hanger that I hung on the back isn't going to work if I mount it here. The hose is just going to keep falling off. Then the ends of that, I wish they just came up like an extra like 6 inches or so. That way the hose wouldn't keep falling off. You'll find out later in the video that I did relocate it. That way I can keep the hose a little bit longer. That way it's not so bundled up on that hanger. Then there's some accessories that they gave you. Some of them I like, some of them not so much. I actually like my other tip for my vacuum. So I'm going to put my old tip on there. They gave you this big metal thing. It's just too big and bulky for especially doing interiors or vehicles. Probably work good outside the vehicle or doing floors, but not so much interiors of cars. So I'm just going to use my old tip, and I'll make sure to put everything in the description in the video. So yeah, they give you a little accessory bag, which is nice. I don't know how long that'll last or if it'll stick around, but we'll just hang it on the side there for now. Made in America. Got to put that sticker back on, and then just get it ready to fire up. I don't really know too much about vacuums and the power, but this one's definitely better than what we have. And that hole right there, guys, is where the vacuum hose should go, not in that lower hole. But I'll fix that a little bit later. You'll find out. A couple things. As soon as I went to push this over to the other side of the shop, I've already found its first flaw, and you can just looking at it, you can already tell it's top heavy. So I'm gonna have to put some kind of weight maybe on the back, or put a little bit more weight on the bottom there. That way it's not so top heavy. I don't plan on rolling it around too much. Maybe every once in a while. I'm not gonna throw out the shop vacuum in case I gotta go on some random job. I'll definitely keep the shop vac, but I'll probably just have to strap this to the wall or bolt it to the wall. That way when they pull the hose, they don't pull it over. That's not a problem you would have if you ended up mounting it to the wall. Here's me fixing the hose, putting it in the right hole. Finally figured that out. I did turn it on and it just didn't sound right. Then here I turned it on again and I'm like, why isn't there any suction? Well, I forgot to put the lid on, so it's one thing after the next. I just wanted to get it together. I was so anxious to use it. That's when stuff usually goes wrong.
Oh, that sounds like something.
as you can see here, I got out some of my redneck engineering tools, hooked up the bungee strap, attached it to the top of the frame. That way it doesn't pull over if myself or one of the guys is using the vacuum. You don't want it to fall over, because if that thing falls over, it'd probably damage that nice pretty white paint. But as for this hook, I don't know what I'm going to use that hook for. I think I'm going to mount it to this side here. That way the hose can hang a little bit longer and it's easier to access. And eventually this will probably all change eventually. I'll use it for a couple months, and then in time everything changes, or you just figure out a way to make it a little bit better. But this should definitely work better and make it a little less top heavy on that upper half. This vacuum does have pretty good reviews on Amazon, but as I'm doing this voiceover, I have used it for a couple days and everyone likes it a lot better than the shop vacuum. I'll give you an update to see kind of how long it lasts. But anything's got to be better than my shop vacuum. So we'll try it out, and then maybe I'll do a video on the wet vacuum setup. But yeah, if it's something you're interested in, feel free to check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. We're not sponsored by any means, but it's just a nice small vacuum, and I think it could be mounted somewhere nicer than what we have it mounted. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. If you like this video, make sure to comment and subscribe below, and I'll catch you later.